Hey, so you're thinking about making a move to Ann Arbor, Michigan, but you also might be considering moving to Detroit, Michigan. Well, you're in luck because in this video, I'm going head to head Ann Arbor and Detroit. We're going to compare both of them and see what the best city is for you and your lifestyle. So if that interests you guys, stick around because we're getting after it right now. Hey, if you're new to this channel and you guys want to know everything there is to know about eating, sleeping, working, playing, breathing, I'm talking the good, the bad, and the ugly about living in Ann Arbor and the surrounding area, then go ahead and subscribe to our channel and hit that little bell so you're the first to learn every time we come out with a new video. Hey, what's up you guys and welcome back. My name is Eric Meldrum. I'm a team leader and a licensed real estate agent with True Living Real Estate Group, and we're helping people just like you, and you who are thinking about making a move to Ann Arbor and the surrounding area, and we want to help you do just that. So whether you're making a move in 1 month or 1 year from now, it doesn't matter. You got to get a hold of us. Give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, even schedule a Zoom call with me or one of my teammates. I put my Calendly link down below. You guys can feel free to book it. And as always, guys, we want to help you make the best move possible and be the best resource for you here in Ann Arbor. All right, guys, so let's get right into it. We're comparing Ann Arbor versus Detroit because the question that you got right now is, do I move to Ann Arbor or do I move to Detroit? And in my opinion, these cities could not be further apart from one another. And I'm not talking about location or distance between them. I'm talking about the lifestyles and everything that you're looking for in a city. If you're a young professional, you might have different things that you're looking for. If you're a family, then obviously you have completely different things that you're looking for compared to someone that's single, and wants to go out and party every single night. So pay attention to these stats. I'm going to give you guys a breakdown of some of the rankings here. A couple of the resources that we're going to use. One of them is niche.com, and Best Places is another good go-to resource. If you're moving anywhere in the United States, I would highly recommend checking these things out. Not all the information that I found on here is completely accurate. It gives an overall, kind of score, but when it comes to some of these things here locally, I've seen some discrepancies, even in the Ann Arbor rankings, in my opinion. But always reach out, ask questions. That's a great opportunity for you guys to drop a comment below. I answer all of those. So if you see something that you're like, hey, I've heard Ann Arbor is great for this, but it's not really ranking pretty high, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I put all my contact information down below. I'd love to help answer any of those questions and be the best resource for you when moving to Ann Arbor and the surrounding area. So let's get right into it. I have Ann Arbor. The overall ranking for Ann Arbor specifically is an A+ ranking. Now, this overall ranking is taking into account public schools, housing, good for families, crime and safety, nightlife, and diversity. Now, obviously, I'm exposing some of these other ones. We're going to go into detail and I'll share my thoughts on those here in a minute. But the Detroit overall ranking is a C+. Now, public schools, housing, same categories, nightlife, diversity, all these same categories we're going to take a look at. Now, like I said before, two completely different cities, in my opinion, and the type of people who are going to be gravitating towards, one versus the other, young professionals versus families. And you'll see that during this these stats. But one of the questions you're probably thinking right now is, what is the real estate like in Ann Arbor? Now, the median home value is $346,000. I think this has gone up quite significantly over the past couple years. I don't think these stats have caught up. We're now approaching the 400s and even low 400s as an entry point into Ann Arbor for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Now, the closer you get to downtown, the more expensive it's going to get, and the further out you get, you have a lot more options, for homes on bigger plots of land. You have, much more expensive homes in that regard as well, but you do have some options in the surrounding cities, if you do want to still be in the Ann Arbor area. Now, renting versus owning, we have a high population of rent just due to the prices here in Ann Arbor, the home prices. So 55% rent and 45% own. We also do have a lot of people coming in and staying for a few years doing residency at the University of Michigan hospital system. We have, people who, and all the students aren't here. We have the University of Michigan, but students are not considered part of the population here because they don't have a primary residence. But this is a really good indication of what you guys could expect. When buying a home here, you're gonna be starting at 400 on up, just depending on what you're looking for. So the Detroit ranking on the real estate side is, if you can believe it or not, the median home value in Detroit is $52,700. When I saw this, I was like, yeah, that makes sense, because what's happening in Detroit is people are buying up these blighted homes. They're buying city blocks, for that matter. I mean, we have investors just coming in, and back about 7 years ago, they put a stop to this because people were buying them up and weren't doing anything with them. So the city changed the regulations and said, hey, if you're going to buy these properties, you have to start developing or rehabbing within a certain period of time. But back 7 years ago, investors overseas were coming in and literally buying city blocks for pennies on the dollar. I mean, it was absolutely insane. So a lot of this has started to turn over, but what you're seeing here in the stat, 52,700, I would say more like an entry level into Detroit is going to be 200,000 on up. So renting versus owning, still a good mix of rent, 52% versus 48% who own. Median rent there is $850. I think this is a little bit on the low end, but if you're looking for a one bedroom, I think you can find a lot of great deals there with a budget of around $850 to $1,000. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the accolades here in Ann Arbor and where they rank for some of the best places here in America. Now, cities with the best public schools here in America, number 4 out of 228, no surprise there. Best cities to live in America, number 6 out of 228, and best cities to raise a family in America, number 6 out of 228. So you can see a theme here. Great place to raise a family, great school system, great place to live. For a family, you cannot go wrong with living in Ann Arbor. And as parents, we want the best for our children. So we know sending your kids to schools that you have an opportunity that we may not have had, growing up. We want to give our children that opportunity. So public schools here, we're getting calls every single day from people who are literally moving to Ann Arbor, from the South or from the West Coast, and saying, hey, we're going to send our kids to Ann Arbor. We've done our research because of the curriculum and what they offer. And this is not just the public schools either. There's a lot of private schools here that offer a great curriculum, and people seek that out. So, if you have more questions about the schools here, feel free to reach out. We have tons of friends, families that we can put you in touch with if you're looking for a specific school, and they can give you their personal review on that as well. All right, so let's take a look at some Detroit rankings. Not as impressive as Ann Arbor, but here's what we got going for Detroit. Cities with the lowest cost of living, number 31 out of 228. Best cities for outdoor activities, 142 out of 228. Best cities for young professionals in America, 204 out of 228. Not impressive, but cost of living, if you go back to the median home price, 52,700. I mean, that's not bad, guys. Cost of living is pretty low. Cities with the best outdoor in America, I don't think Detroit's a place where you're going to find a lot of outdoor activities. So that makes a ton of sense. And cities with the best cities for young professionals in America, 204 out of 228. I think this is going to climb in the rankings. We're seeing a lot more young people as the city rebuilds, and you got that more downtown vibe going. A lot of young professionals are moving in. A lot of people who are investing in those areas are putting Airbnbs as destinations. You got to remember now, we have the Little Caesars Arena, which Detroit Red Wings play at, and the Detroit Pistons moved from Auburn Hills down to Detroit. So all 4 major sports teams are down there. You got the Detroit Lions, the Red Wings, the Pistons, and the Tigers. All right, so let's take a look at the public schools here in Ann Arbor. All A+ rated. These are the cream of the crop. High schools are great. Middle schools are great. Even the private schools all rank very high. Rudolph Steiner, Green Hill School. These are all very good schools here in the Ann Arbor area. And over to Detroit, you have some A+ ratings, but here's the catch here, guys. There's 192 public schools in Detroit. So of the rankings out of all of these schools, this is the cream of the crop. You have some elementary schools that are better than others. So if you're going to be living in Detroit, these might be the school districts that you want to seek out for sending your kids to school, because this seems to be the best. Now, there's a ton of private schools, in Detroit as well. 207 private schools near Detroit. Cranbrook, Detroit Country Day, University of Liggett, Brother Rice, all very great schools, private, some Catholic, but you know, you're going to find a lot of options here with schools if you're willing to drive. All right, so let's take a look at the crime and safety here in Ann Arbor. C+ rating. This one actually surprised me. I don't necessarily agree with it 100%. I'd probably put it a B in my opinion. You know, the crime stats here, you know, they get reported through the police. Now, I would say Ann Arbor has a lot more crime reported because the police are really involved. Every time I'm downtown, they are patrolling. You see them often, and you know, they just have a zero tolerance for a lot of the stuff that goes on in the city. So you do have, you know, some crimes reported here that you know, the police take very seriously. Now, when you have Detroit, the violent crimes that are reported, these are on a much higher scale because the population is so much bigger in Detroit. But C+ or C- on the crime and safety, you know, I would, in my opinion, you know, this would be like a D to me, you know, comparatively to Ann Arbor. I feel very safe in Ann Arbor. There are certain parts of Detroit that I still won't go. I won't take my family. We usually stick to the downtown area. You know, specifically, we're not going into the outskirts in any of the subdivisions or anything. That is just not something I want to do with me and my family. So, you know, take that into consideration. Make sure you drive around. Google Street Views are great. You know, if you're looking at properties, you know, in certain areas, get on Google Street View and make sure you take a look at it, because you can see if the house right in front of you has two houses next to it that are burnt down, or there's a party store behind, you know, the house that might get a lot of traffic, and you just don't want that type of activity, you know, near your house. All right, so the last thing we're going to look at here before we wrap up is the cost of living in both cities. Now, Ann Arbor, you know, is on average 17% higher than the median in the US for the overall cost of living. In the state of Michigan, we're about, you know, 11% below the average for the US. So this is a ranking out of 100. So 17%, 117 is 17% higher. Groceries, we're going to have about 2% higher than the national average. Healthcare here in Ann Arbor is about 14% less than the national average. No surprise here, we're about 64% higher on our housing cost. You can see here that the median home cost in the US is $291. In Michigan, it's around $207. I think that might be a little bit higher. I think Detroit's probably pulling that down a little bit, but median home cost here in Ann Arbor is $418,000. And it's interesting because here's two different resources, niche.com and best places to live. You know, this data in Ann Arbor, for niche.com, if we go back to it, we had the median home price of $346,000, and now on this data source we have the median home price of $418,000. I would say the $418,000 is more accurate in my opinion. Let's move down to the utilities, about 1% lower on the utilities compared to national average. Transportation, about the same, and then just miscellaneous, 5% below. You know, you can see how those stack up to Michigan as well. All right, so now let's take a look at the cost of living for Detroit. Overall, compared to the US, we have about 13% lower than the US on the overall cost of living here. Groceries are about 11% below the US. You can see groceries even in Michigan, a little bit lower in Detroit. Healthcare, about 16% lower than the median. Housing, not even comparison, about 75%. And again, you know, I've talked about this at length. The median home price has been drugged down by a lot of the blighted properties there and just the investor specials that are taking place. Utilities, about 11% lower than the national average. Transportation, 78% higher than the national average. This one is staggering, guys. All right, so the transportation here in Detroit is 78% higher than the national average. You can see in Michigan, it's 15% higher in most places, but 78% higher across the board here for Detroit. And here's what's happening is the insurance companies look at the auto theft in Detroit and these cities, and they've deemed it a very high auto theft area, which is going to mean, you know, they're going to have to pay out, you know, more vehicle recovery and, you know, accidents that take place here in Detroit. People are absolute terrible drivers. The roads are terrible here, right? So when they look at these type of things, you know, they're charging the residents of those cities much higher insurance. So if you're going to be registered in Detroit for your vehicle, I would suggest if you have a grandma in a different city or an aunt, register your vehicle at their house. I'm not telling you this as to do insurance fraud. All right, guys, as you can see from the rankings here in Ann Arbor and Detroit, these two cities couldn't be different. And as I said in the beginning, there's different lifestyles that you're going to gravitate towards for each city. Detroit is going to be young professionals, people looking to work and live downtown. They're going to be enjoying nightlife, restaurants, hanging out with friends, going to sporting events, concerts, all the things that the downtown area has to offer. And then Ann Arbor, on the other hand, is more geared towards families, good schools, good things to do, around the area, great restaurants. You got the University of Michigan. There's just so much to do here in Ann Arbor, and I've done more videos on those. So, we'll put links to all those about living in the specific subdivisions and the pros and cons of Ann Arbor. That's a staple video that you got to check out if you haven't watched it already. But, Ann Arbor for families, go to Detroit for young professionals. That's your jam. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. And again, if you have questions about anything or you think I missed something in this video, drop in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and tap that little bell so you're notified every time we come out with a new video. And if you or somebody you know is thinking about moving to Ann Arbor, I want to be the best resource for you here. Feel free to reach out, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. Even schedule a Zoom call on the Calendly link down below. I put that in the description so you guys can meet with me and we can talk about all of your plans to move to Ann Arbor, and we can get you guys set up, the right way. So as always, guys, go out and have an awesome day, and we'll catch you on the next one.